Hi everybody, it's Annette from the Art of Intuition, and today we're going to talk about closing out realities. How do we close out a reality? How do we do it from our highest possible place, which is not the space our human normally likes to close out realities from. Our humans go to will be flight or fight. We're either going to try to hold on to it and grip it with everything we have, or we're going to just try to run away from it. Now, we will notice when we go back and look at different things in our reality, how in different times when we were really into our human aspect, we did not close things out in the highest place. Now, that's not to judge how we did it, because we did the best we could at the time. We did the best we could with the consciousness we had at the time. But we start to see how that one decision started the domino effect on a zillion different other decisions. And if we close that out in a different space, how we would have gotten a lot of different realities. Our human never understands how one decision impacts these other ones because it's not a linear correlation. So our human doesn't think they're related. But they are related, but we don't see it. Normally when I look back and see a decision I made, a reality that closed out that I did not close out from its highest possible place, I know I'm remembering it for a reason. One, for me to either teach about it, or I'm about to go through something very similar to it. The energetics might come back around again to see if I can go from my highest possible place. Can I close out a reality and put in everything I need to put in to close it out? Whether that, and all the energy I need, and energy meaning money, because money is just energy, time, everything I need to invest in it to close it out. Open, honest communication, which is a very hard one for our human aspect. Our human aspect does not want to do that. That's why it usually goes for running away or trying to fight it out, cling on to it, because it doesn't want to have that discussion about things ending. I would say when you look at realities, and if you look back on some that have ended, you always knew they were coming to a close. You could see different things were shifting, things were moving, and you have a lot of chances. Even when we were in our human realities, our human aligned realities, not our higher aligned realities, we had a lot of chances to close things out. Normally we didn't take them, and they either collapsed around us or we got so pinned in by it we just tried to run away from it because we didn't know what else to do. But we always had a chance to close it out. Now, as we expand our consciousness, we get to a point where we can see them. We know when things are coming to an end. We either have seen it in a dream that it's ending. A lot of times we'll dream about things shifting or ending first because it starts to cut those emotional cords. So we get a preview of it and we kind of see it coming. Very few things will shock you the more your consciousness raises, because you kind of see a lot of stuff coming. You know it's got to shift. Either you know it's got to shift because you've seen it in the dream state, you just kind of have a knowing of it, or you just know it's not aligned and you know it just can't stay. Something's going to change. Now, when we close out a reality or when we shift a reality, it doesn't necessarily mean everyone in the reality has to go. Sometimes it does mean that. Sometimes it just, everyone shifts into different roles. So it doesn't mean people are going to go away, but what I have started to do is just assume everybody is. Assume I might never see anybody again in these realities I'm closing out, if they're shifting into something else, and that gives me the sight, I guess, in a sense, to close it out from my highest possible place, whether that's putting money into it, paying a lot of money to just end it in a high place, putting a lot of time into it, being open and honest about where the reality is. Because when we do that, we also are telling our universe, hey, I can handle closing this out. I don't need to go through it again. I've been able to close this out from its highest place, where you'll see where when you were in your human realities and operating from that level of consciousness, we didn't really know how to close anything out. So we had all these strings that kept dangling around, and we kept re-looping into very similar situations. Not because we necessarily maybe wanted to, we just kept finding ourselves in the same place because we didn't tell our universe, which is just us, I can handle this. I don't need these lessons anymore. So we would keep looping around, whether it be with different people, at different jobs, maybe a totally different situation, but the energetics was the same. We're always looking at the energetics of how we create a reality. looking at what we're doing to create it, looking at why it's there. So it's very important to look at why certain things are there and what's the best thing to do in this moment. Now, if we're closing out a reality because we know it's just organically morphing and we don't want to hold on to it, we just want to put everything we can into it in that moment to close it out, those can cause a lot of sadness and grief, and our human has to grieve that. It's very important to let our human grieve that and get that stuff out of our body and go through the grieving process when we don't know how the reality is going to, come through on the other side of it. Sometimes we won't feel that sadness. We'll know it's going to shift, and we're going to be open to that shift. I'll always tell my universe to just be kind to me. Be kind to me. I know this has got to shift, but just be kind to me on this one, or be kind to me on that one, because I know we're going to have to morph into something else. And I would like to be able to, stay in, this person's life or this person's life. But if it's not highest aligned, just be kind to me. You can always have that open dialogue, because it's just you talking to higher aspects of yourself, aspects you have not embodied yet. So you're just talking to yourself. Always have that communication with what's going on in your world and why it's going on in your world. And when we get to realities where we know it's not aligned and we need to close them out, those can be a little trickier, because sometimes the other person isn't open to it being closed out. Now, we can still close them out. The other person just might not like our choice. And then we have to take into account the other person's feelings. And that's where it can get so much different than when we close things out in a human level of consciousness, because a human level of consciousness does not care about anyone else's feelings but itself. But when we're operating from higher states of consciousness, higher realities, we do care about other people in their reality. We might not feel like some of their feelings are valid when we look at the reality and everything, how it played out. We still have to respect that's how they feel. That's how they feel about it. And it's really important that we address how they feel about it and validate, in a sense, how they feel about it. Sometimes people just want you to validate how they feel about it, and then it's easier to kind of close the reality out and have that discussion about what's respectful, what's not, what's acceptable, what's not, why it can't go on the way it's been going on. So just look at different ones that you feel are getting to a close, whether it be organically to a close, and it's all going to kind of be organically, but I'm kind of using it to distinction the two. Some are just naturally working themselves, whether you're graduating from college, whether you're moving to a new place, whether you're breaking up with somebody. You can kind of see the ones that are just organically closing out because maybe other people in their reality are moving on to something else, and that's going to be a shift for you. Sometimes we can look at different people in our reality, and when they're shifting into something else, we know that's a big moment for us, because now we're about to shift into something else. So you'll have different people who are markers for you. And we go back and look at different realities, you'll start to see how when this person shifted, you shifted, because you're everyone's connected in that way. So just take a look and keep practicing the art of intuition.